Hi, this is John Harch and welcome to episode 11 of Left Turn at Albuquerque. The Summer Bugs continues with our look at Hare Extraordinaire, the first of the Looney Tunes Super Stars disc DVDs. Their hearts were in the right place, but the execution wasn't exactly what they intended.
I knew I should have made a left turn at Albuquerque. I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. I should have turned left at Albuquerque.
Before we move on, just a quick note on the Looney Tunes Bugs Bunny Marathon on July 27th. To be honest, I looked, there was nothing out of the ordinary. Most of what they showed was either out on one of the sets or it's in like the boomerang rotation. Only thing that jumped out at me was Frigid Hare, which was one of the banned bugs from the June Bugs Marathon, but I think TV Tunes has shown it in the month they've been on the air. The only other odd thing I saw was I don't remember seeing Hare Trigger on the Saturday list, but it was on one of the shows on Sunday. As for today's episode, I was originally intending to do the whole bunch of these Superstars discs in a row, sort of like the Platinums, which were broken up by the Collector's Choice discs. Then I came up with Summer Bugs ideas, so we'll end up doing them off and on probably up through next summer. As a replacement for the huge Looney Tunes Golden collections, Warner's decided instead to do single disc collections under the Looney Tunes Superstars banner. They tended to release these two at a time. The first couple were released on August 10th, 2010. They put the spotlight on two of their biggest stars in the Looney Tunes stable, Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck. Both discs contain 15 cartoons appearing on DVD for the first time. The best part about them is the cartoons are presented chronologically, which is the method they'd use on many of the collections we've already done. There were issues, however. For me, I missed the commentaries, but these are aimed more at the general audiences, so I understood that. I also wasn't thrilled that there were no pre-1950 cartoons on the set. At the time, things like Elmer's Pet Rabbit, Hold the Line Please, and Unruly Hare were not on home video. And almost half of this set is from 1959 or later. This sort of set the template for the latter part of the Bugs' 80th anniversary set. Yet some of these ended up there. Why the double dip? Well, the first two sets had a major problem compared to the minor ones I just talked about. When I first watched the disc, I noticed the later tunes were shown in widescreen. I thought it was great getting them presented this way. It looked really cool. And then I was alerted by my old pal, Judge Emerez Harold Gervais from DVD Verdict, that these were not really in widescreen. They were matted to fit the widescreen theater, so the very tops and bottoms of some scenes got cut off. This development did not sit well with the online community back then, 2010, 2011, imagine them now. And it probably had an impact on the future of the line. Now, I thought back then the ending of the Golden Collection series looked like an indefinite mistake. In hindsight, we know the issues that Warner's was having back then and for most of the next decade. It wasn't until the late 2010s that things stabilized and got on a better path that we're reaping the benefits of now. So here's what we're going to do. We'll go over each cartoon in our usual format. If we haven't done it before, we'll do all the particulars. If we have, I'll try to add something new, but for a lot of these, you'll definitely be getting something new. For every short that received the widescreen treatment, we'll look at the version on this disc and compare it to a corrected version. I'll try to use two scenes to show the difference. Many of these have already received Blu-ray upgrades where the aspect ratio was corrected. For the couple that haven't, I was able to find a correct version out there, sometimes in odd places. And that shows what they should look correctly. Now we'll end up doing the Daffy Duck disc the same way, but that has other peculiarities, so we'll handle that one on its own. So here are the 15 then new to DVD cartoons on Hare Extraordinaire. First, as mentioned, we start in 1950 with Mutiny on the Bunny, released on February 11th, directed by Friz Freleng and written by Ted Pierce. Captain Sam needs a crew, so he shanghais Bugs, but the rabbit gets his revenge by constantly figuring out ways to get Sam to sink the boat, sending it back to the dry dock for repairs. This was one from Saturday morning. As mentioned in earlier episodes, I noticed a lot of Friz's Sam tunes were on the networks, though this one wasn't among the most played. Next is Bushy Hare, released on November 16th, 1950, directed by Robert McKimson and written by Warren Foster. Thanks to a bunch of helium balloons and a chance encounter with a stork, Bugs ends up in Australia as the baby to a mother kangaroo and chased by Nature Boy, a little guy who I later figure out was an Aborigine. Anyone shocked that this is a McKimson? This is one of those that I grew up with. I mean, when I was a kid, I loved the concept of the mother kangaroo as a motorboat taking Bugs and the little Roo back to America. It was on all the time, but ended up being one of the banned ones from the Cartoon Network Junebugs marathon because of the native from down under. He's far removed from David Gulpilil, I'll give him that.
Oh, no, you can't take my photograph.
Oh, I'm sorry. You believe it'll take your spirit away?
Nah, you got a lens cap on.
Now, because of that, I hadn't seen this in probably 25 or 30 years when this came out, yet I remembered every beat of every joke. Shows you how well McKimson did. On to the next year with Hare We Go, released on January 6, 1951, also done by McKimson and Foster. Bugs convinces Queen Isabella to help Christopher Columbus, then joins the crew of the Santa Maria and tries to help him discover America. Now, I thought this was a Chuck Jones, but I should have known it was a McKimson, and not just from the conflict with Chris Columbus, but also from the layouts. This one was a Saturday morning staple from the days on CBS. Foxy by Proxy was released on February 23, 1952, directed by Friz Freleng, and again written by Foster. He must have switched directors around this time. This was a rework of an earlier Tex Avery cartoon where the hounds, including the Big Dumb One, voiced here by Stan Freework,
a fox hunt. We're going to catch a fox and cut his tail off.
Go chasing after a fox, only this time the fox is Bugs Bunny. This one revives the revolving log gag from Tex Avery and Bob Clampett. This is another one I've been seeing my whole life since I was a kid. We're up to 1953 with Hare Trimmed, released on June 20th. Hey, remember these guys? Sam tries to marry Granny, where we learn her first name is Emma. We find out her last name on a later release. She just inherited a fortune, but Bugs is there to play blocker to the point of walking down the aisle. Since it's with Sam, it's a Saturday morning staple, and the scene with Bugs dressed as Granny being chased around the couch by Sam, then sending a piano down the stairs at him, was a CBS bumper. Friz reused a bit of this animation and dialogue in Honey's Money. You know Friz, never let anything go to waste. We finally get a Chuck Jones with Lumberjack Rabbit. We just did this one on the Bugs 80th anniversary set, and here's where the quote-unquote upgrades start showing up. Remember, widescreen first came into use in late 1953 with the rope. This was also the 3D Looney Tune that was reissued later, so the widescreen must have been done for that release in 1954. So for these, the correct one will be on the left, and the widescreen will be on the right. So here, take a look at this scene. Look at the top there. And then look at this. So you can see a definite difference. We jump to 1956 and Napoleon Bunny-Part. This is another one that received an upgrade on the Bugs 80th anniversary set. It's also the reason I released this video when I did. It was Napoleon's birthday the other day, so it's good an excuse as any. Now, you do have to wonder if this ending inspired a certain hit song from a decade later.
They're coming to take me away, ha-ha. They're coming to take me away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha.
And now let's take a look at the scenes. We got a couple, one here. And another here. Bedevilled Rabbit was next, released on April 13th, 1957. As we hit some of these shorts again, I'll add on the release date since that was a late addition to our routine. We did this back on Platinum Collection Volume 1, Disc 2 with all the rest of the Taz shorts. Now, it took them 3 years to get a second Taz one out, but way less time for the third. We'll be doing that one again very soon. So there's actually a nice long segment here which shows you the difference in the widescreen and the original version. You can see it up top. Now it's back to one we haven't done yet. Apes of Wrath was released on April 18th, 1959, directed and written by our favorite duo. This is kind of a redo of McKimson's Gorilla My Dreams from 10 years earlier, but this time by Frizz. A drunken stork needs a baby for Mr. and Mrs. Gorilla, so he kidnaps Bugs. A Saturday morning cartoon that never played the original opening credits, so I saw them for the first time on this disc. How did I miss it on Cartoon Network? So let's take a look here. And then this. We're back to an upgraded short from Hare to Heir, which we did on the 80th set. Remember, this was written by Frizz as well as directed. I'll talk about why in a minute. So let's take a look at the scenes here. And here. Now back to a non-upgraded one, Lighter Than Hare, released on December 17, 1960, also written and directed by Frizz. Warren Forrester had gone over to Hanna-Barbera by this point, so Frizz had to do double duty. Sam the space alien comes hunting for an Earth creature and ends up going toe-to-toe with Junkyard Rabbit Bugs. Lots of mechanical and technological stuff in this cartoon. Makes it a little like a Roadrunner cartoon to all the contraptions. This was occasionally shown on Saturdays. Now, what made them pick from Hare to Heir for an upgrade compared to either of these other two, especially this one, which is a little more cinematic? To be honest, that one would have likely been my second choice for dropping after Backwoods Bunny if the 80th set had needed room for something else. So let's take a look here, and we have this shot. And this one towards the end. The rest of the shorts all received blue upgrades either on Platinum Collection Volume 1 or the Bugs Bunny 80th Anniversary set. First is the Million Hare, was upgraded with the 80th. I don't think I've seen the credits on this one either until this set. Again, how did I miss it on Cartoon Network? Anyway, it's been on Boomerang constantly, so... Here's a shot here. And a shot here. The next two cartoons are from the secondary character section of Disc 2 in Platinum Collection Volume 1. Mad as a Mars Hare, the final Marvin the Martian cartoon, was released on October 19th, 1963. So here we go. You don't want to have Maurice Noble's layouts cut off like this. Now, the two remaining Marvins were on DVD already. The Hasty Hare, released on June 7, 1952, is an extra on the Hasty Heart DVD, and Hare We to the Stars, released on March 29, 1958, was available as part of the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie. I think I said Looney Bugs Bunny movie last time. The DVD of that came out in 2005. So after that is Dr. Devil and Mr. Hare, the final Taz. So here. And we take a look here. I do have to wonder, why'd they leave off Bill of Hare? I mean, they could have fit 16 on here just as easily as 15. So just to add to our dates, Bill of Hare was released on June 9th, 1962. And Dr. Devil and Mr. Hare came out on March 28th, 1964. Then the final theatrical Bugs for over 25 years, False Hare. Now, interestingly, in the last year or so of his theatrical career, Bugs got another theme of sorts, a kind of a fanfare. I ended up noticing it as I was putting this together, then checking the 80th set, but plus seeing Dumb Patrol on Boomerang, it put the pieces together. So here's the fanfare. And now let's take a look at the scenes. Again, here. And here. So it looks like we'll only need 2 more blue/HD upgrades for Apes of Wrath and Lighter Than Hare to fix the problem ones on this disc. They're currently not on Max. Lighter Than Hare was at one point. And the upgrade for Apes of Wrath is available on all things the Stars of Space Jam DVD. You could find separate ones for each of the individual characters, but you may as well get the one with all of them for just about the same price. It actually has a couple of upgrades not available elsewhere, and a number of cartoons not available in any other digital format, but they haven't been restored yet. So, looks like I'll have to include that one in our recap once we're done with all the Golden sometime next year. Now, for those of you in regions 2 and 4, which I think is Europe and Far East Asia, you have a second Bugs Bunny Super Stars disc to choose from. Wascally Wabbit was released on May 4th, 2011. It's like another of the Superstars discs we'll touch on probably early next year, in that all of the cartoons had been previously released on the Golden collections. I'll put up the list from the Looney Tunes wiki site. As you can see, we've talked about all of them except one. It does appear on Golden Collection Volume 1, but I actually already have it downloaded, so let's go ahead and talk about it now. Ballot Box Bunny was released on October 6, 1951, before Election Day. Good timing. Directed and written by our buddies Freeling and Foster, this may be among the earliest of the run they had once he moved over from McKimson's unit. Sam's running for mayor, but Bugs isn't going to let him get in without a fight, turning the political process on its ear, only to have them both beaten by Dark Horse, the new mayor. This has an early version of the exploding gag using those endearing young charms that Frizz reused in Showbiz Bugs. You know Frizz. A Saturday morning staple on CBS and ABC, it later had its ending cut when the two play Russian roulette, but it's intact in the current Boomerang rotation. Since this has been previously released, I don't expect it to be on a Collector's Choice volume before we get to the Golden collections next year, so you get a Bugs Bunny bonus here. And speaking of, a Collector's Choice update. On July 30th, Warner's announced there will be a Collector's Choice Volume 4 coming out November 26th. However, at the moment, there's no list of cartoons that has been announced. Now, on the Extras podcast, George Feltenstein said they would be focusing on shorts that haven't been on video yet, and there will be cartoons from the 30s through the 60s. The list should be out before Labor Day. As soon as it's announced, I'll get the video rundown up as fast as I can. So next time, we'll wrap up the Summer of Bugs. Next time, the Summer of Bugs concludes with our look at the Essential Bugs Bunny 2 DVD set. Was it what it was advertised to be? And what might a blue upgrade have looked like? I'm John Harter. Thanks for watching.